This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Warn, Power Tank, and Medical Gear Outfitters.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 295, Envy Down Under.
Tonight, Andy, that's me, joins the cast twice. Jeremy is back, and Aaron needs a sleeping bag.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Jeremy, tonight, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Andy and Aaron, and our guest, Andy from Down Under.
G'day.
Ooh.
The Weekend Review is brought to you by Medical Gear Outfitters. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting to have a casualty on the trail? Check out medicalgearoutfitters.com to get straightened out. Medical Gear Outfitters has everything you need, whether you're going out for the day or traveling on a year-long expedition. Head over there to get off-road specific kits that meet all of your needs. And while you're there, make sure you use Off-Road Podcast for 10% off. I just noticed that was pretty seamless because I was wearing the same sweatshirt when I recorded that.
Is that your garage podcast sweatshirt?
No, it's kind of my go-to sweatshirt, though. So it doesn't surprise me that I was also wearing it.
You also just ruined the seamlessness by saying that, but who cares?
Just killing the magic. Well, we'll start off with Andy from Down Under. What have you been up to this week?
Hi.
Are you there?
Hello. Yeah, just about. Sorry.
There we go.
We've had a lot of storms in the area, so the internet's a bit flaky.
So what have you...
I'm apologizing in advance.
Have you done anything in the off-road world lately? This past week or any time recently?
Not a lot. We've only just sort of come out of quite heavy COVID restrictions here, so we've sort of... I've had all these big trips planned over the last 18 months, and none of them have happened.
We can't relate at all.
Right?
No. We haven't even been allowed out of the city at some times.
Wow.
Or even out of our local suburbs. It's been really heavy, but then, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Andy,
Bear with me.
I think
Bear
Andy's
with me.
experiencing a storm also.
I'm having storms in Australia also. Focus. Come on, focus.
Does it count if he's doing it to himself, though?
Anyway.
I guess we'll go to Warren, Andy. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Oh, I actually have been up to off-road things, although not actually going off-road, but working on my 92 Mitsubishi Pajero. I'm actually going to be a bit of a sacrilege and drive it to Easter Jeep Safari this year and show up with my right-hand drive turbocharged diesel-powered Mitsubishi. So I've been trying to get in a boost gauge and an EGT gauge, and then hopefully open up the wastegate a little bit. Not doing big power or anything like that, but just up the boost a little bit to help maybe on some of the highway jaunts. So that's what I've been up to.
You're going to make all those Jeepers jealous.
Here's hoping I make
it. That's exciting. I don't know if I've ever heard you, since I known you, talk about kicking up the power in any of your vehicles. You'll modify suspension and do things like that, but I don't ever hear you talk about more power, baby.
Yeah, especially on our long range vehicles, like the vehicles that we take on long trips and then go wheeling and stuff like that, I'm not generally too concerned about having too much power, but without completely nerd jacking the entire podcast, I have swapped in a Hyundai D4BF engine into my Pajero, which is basically the Mitsubishi version built under license, or built, Hyundai bought the tooling and built a brand new engine from 27 years ago. And it came detuned from the factory. And so instead of, I think it's probably running around 7 to 8 pounds of boost, where it should be running about 12 to 14 pounds. So just going to crack that wastegate open a little bit and see if we can get at least 12 pounds of reliable boost instead of just constantly having the foot to the floor. I mean, it's not always foot to the floor, but a little more power, right? Never a bad thing.
Yeah.
So why did they detune it from the factory?
How long you got? No, so basically the whole deal is the engine that I put in this was actually intended for the Mitsubishi Delica Space or Star Wagon, which is the L400 style. And it's basically a drop-in replacement or similar to it. It wasn't intended to have the intercooler and whatnot that I have on the Pajero. So the intake manifold got swapped over. The wastegate got swapped over, but it's got all new bottom end, all new top end. Basically, everything is brand new except for the intake manifold. And so there has to be a little bit of tuning on there because it's initially it should have about 104 horsepower, 100 horsepower, and it's probably putting out more like 80 horsepower right now because it's destined for a non-intercooled van. So, like I said, the idea is to get a baseline boost gauge reading, and then especially get that pyrometer in there, the EGT gauge, see what my exhaust gas temperatures are, and then hopefully raise the boost just a little bit. Again, I'm not going for like big power or anything like that, but just reliable, usable power to at least get me back to where I was.
Makes sense. Aaron, how about you? What have you been up to?
I Monday I mailed off the paperwork for the pole barn for the new shop finally, so it's official. Although as of Friday afternoon they hadn't received the paperwork like 25 miles from where I live, so that's the U.S. Postal Service for you.
Oh
It
my
was
God,
just
it's been bad.
it's just an envelope. It wasn't like a package or anything. It was just an envelope. So yeah. So from let's see, I dropped it in the mailbox in Yamhill, and it's supposed to go to Canby. So maybe it's 35 miles. I'm not sure. Not
I
that
could have ridden
far.
my bike faster than that.
Uh huh.
I feel like
A
you could
lot.
have thrown it up into the wind and it may have gone there faster.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Although it would probably got picked up in someone's trasharoo in a mall parking lot. So, um, so, anyways, the pole barn is officially ordered. I haven't touched my Nissan Titan parts truck at all. I'm really nervous about that one. I have a sneaking suspicion, so we'll find out if the Titan is toast or not soon. I'll have
Ugh.
time this week. Last week I was just spending all my time prepping for the camp trip that I took. We pulled our new to us 26-foot camp trailer to Cannon Beach and camped in a paved campground and slept in a tin trailer, and it was a good time. We got some bugs to work out. I was happy to be, like I mentioned the last time, I was happy to bring my kids bicycles so they could ride bikes. Not something you can do when you go deep forest camping. There's not much bicycle riding for kids. So it was a good time. Goofed around on the beach, that stuff. So yeah, I averaged, so I got 3.5 EcoBoost 10-speed transmission. We towed about I don't remember the mileage. I think is just under 200 miles, and we averaged 9.9 miles a gallon towing over and back with the EcoBoost, and that's with premium. So I don't know if the premium helped or not. The next trip I'm going to tow without premium, and I'm just curious. Some people think that the premium is going to help with towing for some reason.
I'm just gonna go out and say that sounds like more boost than eco, but that's just me.
I put the cruise control at the speed limit the entire time. I had it in tow haul mode, and it did really good. Like it pulling up the hills in seventh gear at let's see, seventh gear up hills. It was like 1900 RPM. Sometimes it would kick down to fifth gear, but almost the entire time it was in seventh gear towing the whole way. So
Wow.
pretty amazing.
That's impressive considering none of my cars have more than 5 forward gears. I have a bike that has more than 7 gears, but that's about it. So
Well,
I
I
think
did the math. Like if it was like 5 gears and 5 half gears to make 10, that means 7 gears is like at gear 3.5. So that's between 3 and 4 in a normal 5 speed pulling a trailer up a hill. I feel like my Nissan pulling my camp trailer is in third gear and not at 2000 RPM. It's more at like 4000 RPM pulling up those big hills.
Yeah.
So
that's more like my rigs too.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yep. And then when you unhook the trailer, you've got boost for days. So yeah, it's those twin Taiwan tornadoes or whatever they call them are a lot of fun.
So where does the eco come in then? You keep telling us about the boost.
Say that again, Jeremy.
I'm building off of Andy's comment. Where does the eco come in?
So that truck gets the same in-town fuel economy that our minivan got. So there's the eco. I haven't had a good long highway trip to test out the highway, but my wife did get 23 on the highway, I believe, when she took it on the highway up to Chehalis and back. So we'll
Your
see.
minivan doesn't have a Hellcat engine in it, does it? Just checking.
No.
Okay, just want to make sure.
We wouldn't have got rid of it if it did.
Fair point. Fair
Right?
point.
Right? Yeah. No, so we had a 2014 Honda Odyssey with the my wife is apparently watching in the comments. She says the eco comes in when I drive it.
Fair point. Fair
Yeah.
point. Somebody's got to be saving the money.
Well, we
Right.
have all seen the way Aaron drives, so
She wouldn't tell me where the sport button was. I stumbled across it when I put it into tow haul mode. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great. That was classic right there.
did she actually
Yeah.
tell you that she wouldn't tell you where the sport mode was?
Yeah, she specifically said, I know that there's a sport mode. I'm not going to tell you where it's at. So,
Lovely.
I actually love that, especially on International Women's Day. I love the fact that she knows more about the truck than you do. I just want to say that.
well, she did go to the dealer and she bought it at the dealer herself. I was out camping with some friends and she went and traded a rig in, negotiated all the price. She did a really good job at that. And
Awesome.
she spent half the day at the dealership doing that stuff. So, yeah, she did a really good job. So they showed her around the truck and told her how everything worked.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's one thing, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, you're going to spend half the day at the dealership. So,
Right.
Even
Yeah.
if
no offense, Andy, by the way.
No, it's all right. I work in service. That's fine.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Please don't tar me with that brush.
when we bought our F-150, we went in and paid cash. Like literally said, "Here's the cash. We would like to take the truck," and it was still half a day.
Oh,
Well, that's because they spent most of it counting all the cash you brought in.
Probably.
I'm amazed they actually took cash.
right.
I was too.
I don't think they like to take cash at all. I think that's like a
Well, what do they
yucky
mean
to them.
when they say we take cash?
Yeah.
We
Think they normally mean they want a check?
Yeah.
No,
Normally
they
they
don't
want
want
you to
checks.
finance it. They want you to finance it.
They want Venmo. That's what they want. Venmo.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind next time.
Oh, so the comment earlier under the tonight, it said that Aaron needs a new sleeping bag. I did have a rough couple nights sleeping in it. When I sleep, I like to have a footboard for my bed. It holds the covers in to keep them from sloughing off the end and stuff. And for some reason, I'm a low sleeper in a bed. I don't know what the deal is. I sleep towards the bottom of the mattress, not towards the top of the mattress. Kind of weird. Whatever. And so my feet start hanging off, and I'm pushing the covers down, and whatever. So I think to fix this, I need a sleeping bag, like a double sleeping bag, so it'll prevent me from pushing off the edge and things like that. The sleeping bag will act as my footboard. Just weird.
You know,
Yeah, those of us real tall guys don't have this problem. I mean, short guys don't have this problem. But anyway,
I just find a 4-year-old stop loose coming off the bottom of the bed because, like, she just kicks me.
I suggested to my wife we could sleep the other way around in the bed, so that our feet would be at the headboard, and she's like, "No, my pillow will fall off the bed then." So
well, I was thinking 90 degrees because that would be terrible. So
Yeah.
sideways, yeah,
sideways on the
everything,
bed.
I mean,
everything would hang off the bed.
There
Not-
you go.
I mean, you could get like a California King or something, or no, that's just long
No, yeah. So the
King, right?
you can only fit. So this trailer came with a RV sized queen, which is shorter than a queen. We chucked that and put a regular queen mattress in there, but still the queen mattress isn't as long as the California King that I'm used to sleeping in. So
This segment
California-
brought to you today by
Yeah.
Mattress Giant. No, I'm just kidding.
right, yeah,
Might want to go
mattress
after those guys.
train. You
I
know,
thought it was Sleep
no.
Train.
Yeah. One last thing. Got some here in the background. You can see I bought some. Can anybody guess what this is without me getting closer?
Ecto Cooler.
Close.
No. Oh, it's not. Is it? Oh, wait. Those are going to be snatch straps of some sort, eh?
No. Nope. It's really thin.
Fishing line.
Crepes.
3D printer filament.
Oh, 3D
3D
printer.
3D
filament.
printer filament. Yeah. So I can't remember if I mentioned it on the podcast or not, but I'm going to get a 3D printer soon. My son really wanted one, and I thought it would be fun to have one as well to goof off with. And
That's awesome.
so I'm making him save up for his half of it. Otherwise, I would have just bought it by now because I'm impulsive like that. So
You should
he's
just buy
he's,
it
hol-
and then hold it
he's
over.
holding up the train.
You can't do anything until you pay me back.
Yeah. No, I don't want to do that. I want him to want it and wait. So we'll see.
You know what if I had a 3D printer, you know
it's
what I'd
good for
do?
me too.
Print it Pajero.
No, well, okay, yeah, actually that's probably the real answer, but no, if I had a 3D printer, I'd print more 3D printers.
Oh yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah.
It's so meta. Do the kids say that anymore these days? I don't even know.
Did kids ever say that?
Somebody said that. I got it from somewhere. I didn't just manifest it. Or did I? Anyway.
I vaguely remember hearing that phrase. I just don't know where. It might have been from Andy.
Yes. Well, Jeremy, what have you been up to?
I haven't been up to a whole lot. All I did this week was set the inner bead on my tires finally. So they've been mounted to the beadlocks for almost a month, but I'm not running my Jeep right now because it's kind of laid up and it's drained of oil. So I ended up driving them down to the gas station to set the bead. Freaked out the gas station attendant because he had no idea what the heck I was doing, and it popped. So that was kind of fun. And then I got to test the monster valves, and I was able to air down from 37 psi to 15 in 15 seconds.
Nice.
Whoa.
Pretty
Oh,
stoked about that.
Without the aid of just puncturing a tire?
Yeah, those monster valves, they dump air.
Wow.
okay. Now I'm jealous because we just have to like use the stick thing here.
A stick.
You can order some monster valves.
And you have to be
Yeah.
careful when you're picking up a stick because it could be a snake.
a deadly snake.
Yes.
Or maybe
Like
you
every
use
snake here is nearly deadly.
Yeah.
maybe you just use the snake to puncture the sidewall.
Probably
and
faster.
You'll have two
Yeah.
holes to get the air out.
You just plug it afterwards.
Yep, you just plug it when you're done.
Why not?
So you got some tires. Have you gotten are your axles coming yet or what, dude?
They're hopefully shipping on Friday. Crossing my fingers.
Fingers crossed for you.
They're
That you've
only
now
about
that you've missed
month
the
and a
snow
half.
run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's COVID for you. They were
Yeah.
Dynatrack was having problem with some of their suppliers, which I totally understand. Still, I was disappointed though.
Yeah. It was probably like the paint supplier. I bet you they had the entire thing completely assembled, but the paint supplier was behind and they didn't want to run to Home Depot and get a couple cans of Krylon.
That was probably it.
Yeah,
That was it. That had to have been it.
sure.
Yeah, it would have been the place where they get the single bolt from.
Yeah.
It probably was. Or like an
Yeah.
O-ring for something else.
Yeah.
For the air.
We joke about that. The pain is real.
Yeah.
I've been ordering parts from Germany from work, and it's like you'll get 3/4 of it, and it'll be one part will be in Germany still, and be like, really?
Oh boy.
It is a thing. I do the sponsorships a lot. I'm not going to go into too detailed here, but I do a lot of the sponsorship stuff at Warren. But part supply and supply chain stuff is all jacked up because of COVID, and we're building stuff as fast as we can. But man, it's hard. Like half your order will go out, and then half the other will. We're still working on. But yeah, it's a global problem.
I heard that it was all the government. The government's buying up all the winches, and they aren't letting the regular people have them. So
okay,
it's conspiracy.
Yeah. I got nothing.
Okay. All right.
We're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
Speaking of subscribing, if you haven't heard us talk about Patriot Patch before, you should head over to their website. You're a little behind there, Jeremy. A little behind.
Right one.
This one is the right one. My Little Armalite. So it, yeah, boy, your camera's doing better tonight than mine is. Here, I'll tell you what. Here we go. Hold that. Boom. There it is. My Little Armalite. So that's the current patch of the month, and it comes with a matching sticker and the artist proof. And there's a song that goes with it, and I forgot to look it up since we've done this. Yeah, I got to look up the My Little Armalite song. We'll have to play that. Maybe if we remember, we'll play it next week on the show.
Is it like My Little Pony or something?
No.
I'll admit,
No.
the purpose of the patch this month.
You don't know the purpose of the patch?
I don't.
You got to read the email. Patriot Patch email.
Well, I don't get the Patriot Patch email.
You don't get emails every month. You need to sign up for the weekly. You should sign up. Yeah, go sign up. Especially since they got booted off of Facebook.
Well, why don't you just enlighten me, Aaron?
Because I don't have a good memory and I deleted my email. I talked about it last week on the show, though. You could, if you go back and listen to that terrible episode we put out with audio quality issues,
Well,
you'll hear about it. So,
at least there's
anyways,
to listen to the show, right?
Yeah. Yep. So they got great shirts and patches and gun cleaning mats and other things over there too. So make sure you check out Patriot Patch. And if you didn't know, they got booted off of Facebook. I believe they had 170,000 followers on Facebook, and they're all gone now. So he is over on MeWe and I think a couple other places, Parlor. I think he was joking about doing TikTok, but I don't know. I think Ben's on TikTok, so maybe Ben can check that out and get back to us. Let us know.
The news is brought to you by Power Tank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
So our first article is about the Hummer. They're going to release the SUV version at the Final Four games on April 3rd. I don't know anything about sports ball, so I don't really follow this stuff. And I'm not going to watch the sports ball game just so that I can see the reveal either. I'll just wait for it to show up on the internet. But yeah, they're going to release the SUV version. I don't know if you guys remember, but the Hummer that they're talking about, the EV Hummer, the version that they introduced was a truck version, not a SUV version. So now they're gonna debut the SUV version. They don't have any details on it. I have to assume it's gonna be super similar to the truck. It kind of doesn't make sense for it to not be, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see during the sports ball game. You got 1 month wait.
Is it me, or does that look very Bronco-esque?
If you scroll up to the side profile, that looks very Bronco-esque.
Well,
Yeah.
It looks a bit FJ Cruiser-ish as well.
That's what I was gonna say.
yeah, I can see that.
It looks a bit like the love child of an H3 and an FJ Cruiser.
But I mean, that front shot, I don't know if that's just a rendering. I'm assuming that's an actual rendering, at least, of the vehicle. I mean, it looks actually just like a photo, but I mean, it looks very much Bronco from the front.
That one that you're showing right there is actually the truck rendering, not the SUV rendering.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I would assume though that the SUV is gonna. I'm not sure why they're making a big deal out of it, because I would think that it's got to look the same, just with a shell on the back.
One would think.
I guess maybe I was thinking that side profile looked more like a Bronco more than the FJ, because it has 4 doors where the FJ has just those half doors in the back. So
a long wheelbase FJ.
Sure. Yep. We'll see. I do like that they have the spare tire mounted on the back. I think that is always cool looking. Maybe not always practical, but I think it's always cool looking when you mount the tire on the back.
Proper
I really
SUV.
Yes, proper. I think what really I like is the dual spare tires on some of those legit overland rigs. I can't remember which episode, or not episode, but which show it was. It was either Long Way Round or The Long Way Down, and they outfitted some Nissan Patrols, and one of them had dual spare tires on swing outs off the rear bumper, and it was awesome. It was really cool looking. So
sorry, I was just looking in the workshop to see what we had in. I've got a 79 series in there with a box canopy on the back, but it's only got a single wheel carrier on the back.
Oh,
What
okay, that's cool.
What a loser. Only one tire on the back.
Peasants.
And they're only 35s
yes.
as well.
You guys get 35-inch tires down in Australia?
Yeah. Probably legally can't run them on anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Because don't you have a legal, like, you can't go over a certain tire size in Australia?
Yeah, it's like 1.5 inches over standard or something stupid.
So if you could get the Bronco that came stock with 35-inch tires,
there you go.
But the steering wheel's on the wrong side.
We'll find out in the main topic if they can get the Bronco. So don't let any secrets out yet.
Oh yeah. Oops.
Sorry.
Our next article here is about the Cherokee name that Jeep uses. Apparently, Jeep got a letter written to them from the Cherokee Nation asking them to stop using that name on their vehicles. Did you guys hear about this at all?
Mm-hmm.
I did. Stirred up quite a bit of controversy.
Yeah. So they write, "I'm sure it comes from a place that is well intended, but it does not honor us by having our name plastered on the side of a car. The best way to honor us is to learn about our sovereign government, our role in this country, our history, culture, and language, and have meaningful dialogue with federally recognized tribes on cultural appropriateness." So the article is a little what do they call that when they try to catch your attention with a headline? Clickbaity, thank you. Little clickbaity, because it says Jeep Cherokee name could go away, and the article nowhere in here does it say that it's going away. They say that they'll talk with them if they need to, and they have reached out to them, but nowhere does it say it's going away. So I'm curious, and if that does happen, what's the next thing that's going to go away? How far down the line is that go? People are going to be um, offended by a vehicle name or anything like that.
I think everybody just needs to call cars by like, let's just follow BMW or Mercedes. Let's just call
No,
everything a
don't do
number.
it.
Let's just call it all a
Oh,
number. The
No.
M537. I can't keep track of Mercedes Benz or BMW stuff for what it's worth. I can never remember what anything is.
or
It used to be
Infinity.
easy with them because the number meant the engine size, but now
Yes.
it doesn't.
I know,
No.
right?
Correct.
I know. Right.
So
Or they would have a T for turbo, but it doesn't have a turbo anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
we can-
Nowadays, it's hard to follow that.
going along that trend, would like a Jeep JKU just be a Jeep body on frame 4-door SUV?
I think that actually is a great example. So many people that are into Jeeps, everybody calls it a JK or a JKU or a JL or a YJ or a TJ or a KJ, whatever. Everybody calls it that anyway. I mean, I don't know. I think the use of Native American names is extremely controversial these days. I know it's something that wasn't previously, and I think it's become something that's become more of a sensitive topic. And I'm gonna let the people at Jeep handle that one.
Right? Yeah, it's on their shoulders, so they'll have to do that. Native American names have been used for tons of things, including weapons of war. That there's different helicopters and things like that named after the Native Americans. So I'm just curious to see how far that will go. I wonder if the Cherokee Nation also reached out to the United States military and gave them the same letter. Please don't use our Cherokee. Well, actually, I don't think. Is there a Cherokee helicopter? I'm not
There's
sure.
an Apache helicopter.
There's an Apache. There's an Apache. So maybe has the Apache, have they reached out to the military?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Didn't there used to be a Comanche as well?
Comanche.
There was a Jeep Comanche.
That's the C word I was looking for. Thank you, Andy.
There's also the
Not the other
Dakota. Wasn't there a Navajo? Not all Jeep, but
There was a
Oh,
Mazda
yeah.
Navajo. Yeah.
Yep. That's long gone.
yeah.
Yeah. So pretty ingrained in culture to use all kinds of different names and things like that.
Well, it's oh, where there it is. I think it's time for winching tips with Andy.
Which one of us?
More Andy.
Oh, okay. All right. So I was told I could have a half hour to do this. So
Well, this isn't
Oh.
the app read. This is. I mean, you could take a half hour to do your winching tip too.
Oh, okay. Is this the ad read or is this the winching tips with Andy?
The
Winching
winching
tips
tip
with
with
Andy.
Andy.
All right. So my winching tip for the day. This is going to be real simple, and it's going to sound almost like too simple, but I see it happen all the time. I don't care if you're using steel rope or you're using synthetic rope. Wear gloves. Wear your gloves. I don't care if there are worn gloves or if they're a good set of just leather gloves or whatever. Like, wear gloves. With steel rope can get burrs on it and can cut your hand and not good things, right? But people go, well, I got synthetic rope. I don't have to worry about it, right? Well, the problem is synthetic rope can pick up sticks, glass, stones, whatever that. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I've had rope burn before. So wear your gloves. It takes 2 seconds to put them on. Make it just part of your winching routine. Make it as routine as going to plug in your remote, as routine as turning the clutch lever, as routine as all the other safety things. So wear your gloves, synthetic or wire rope.
It's a good tip.
What if you are using Nerds rope?
I think you're the nerd here, actually. So
Oh goodness! Can you guys make a winch that uses Nerds rope or
Oh
licorice?
man.
nerds.
April Fool's is
Delicious.
coming up, Andy.
Oh
April Fool's
boy,
is coming up.
Twizzlers rope. God,
It'll be the new Rough Country Insta-Winch.
that was classic. I have to give it to the folks at Tough Country for that one. That was hilarious.
Yeah, well, Nerds Rope or Licorice Rope could be the next thing.
As long as it's
I
not
think
black licorice rope. Ugh. That
What?
actually might be the only good thing black licorice is good for.
What's wrong with licorice?
Oh,
I love black licorice.
Oh, you're all a bunch of.
You're in the minority here.
I might just leave.
Well, please,
Right, and
if you could do the ad read first before you leave,
Yeah.
because that's coming up next.
Okay, I gotta find it here. I see main topic powered by Warren. Is that it?
Yeah,
That's it.
you're supposed to ad lib this one.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay, are we ready? I'll ad lib it. Are you ready?
Should I start a timer?
How long do I got?
I told you before the show, as long as you want.
You don't need it now. Okay, ready?
Fire.
I wish I could do like the movie guy voice, like for over 70 years. Anyway, for over 70 years, Warren Industries has been producing a whole host of off-road accessories based here in the Pacific Northwest. Starting in the 1940s with Warren Locking Hubs, 1959 we introduced the electric winch, and we continue to innovate out of our 180,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Clackamas, Oregon. From winches and bumpers to bags, hubs, and the latest technology such as the Warren Hub wireless receiver that uses Bluetooth on your smartphone to control your winch, Warren Industries continues to innovate and continues to be at the top of their game. For more information on Warren products, visit warren.com. Check us out on Instagram at Warren Industries, Facebook at Warren Fans, and Twitter at Warren Industries. Boom.
Wow, that
Boom.
might have been the best Warren ad ever, and
That was
to write it.
Thank you. I appreciate
that was
it.
really good.
I've been
Although,
practicing for minutes.
I was going to ask you if you like go in the bathroom and say that in front of a mirror.
I've been saying that nonstop for about 16 years, so yeah.
I will
Awesome.
say I do have a bone to pick with you guys.
Oh, do you?
Uh-oh. Here it
About
comes.
the Warren Hubs.
Look, you made Andy leave.
Oh man, shoot. Every time I hear Bluetooth hub, my mind goes, huh? How do you make those Bluetooth?
Are you asking for royalties on this next innovation?
What do you mean?
No, just
Thank
on
you.
the licorice rope winch.
Yeah, black licorice rope winch brought to you by Twizzlers.
In partnership with Twizzlers.
Ugh. I'm getting nauseated thinking about it. No offense, Twizzlers, but
Although I do have to say my new axles are coming with Warren Hubs.
very nice. Very nice. What axles are they, by the way?
The Dynatrack Pro Rocks.
Oh, okay, cool. Very good.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into the main topic here. But let's not jump into it because we're going to talk about Andy first, but not Warren Andy. We're going to talk about Australian Andy. So normally when we don't know somebody, we want our guests to learn who they are a little bit. So we're going to go over some fast 5 facts with you. So do you like new or old vehicles?
Both.
I think that's a first. Yeah, right.
I like the technology in new vehicles. I like the styling of old vehicles.
You better not just keep saying everything.
Nope.
Okay.
Look,
So
I'm about
do you
to buy a brand new Amarok? It's got like the most technology in it ever. I can't say old vehicles.
All right. Do you like summer or winter camping?
Winter.
And when you say winter in Australia, is that when it's cold or is that when it's hot?
It means when it's comfortable.
That's a fair answer.
It means when
Okay.
it's not 90% humidity.
Okay. Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
I want to say snow because I don't get to do it very often here. Probably rock and mud. Sand is probably my least favorite, even though it's the most accessible.
Favorite vehicle brand? Doesn't have to be the one you work for.
No. Up until probably 3 years ago, I just said Land Rover, but now don't think I would buy anything that they make.
I love it.
Any particular reason?
I just don't like them. I don't like the current design philosophy. It'd probably have to be probably be Mitsubishi at the moment.
Whoa.
No, I have a
There you
2015 Challenger, Mitsubishi Challenger, which is based on the L200 pickup.
Is the Challenger a van?
Yes, SUV.
SUV. Okay,
SUV.
all right.
Yeah, think
So
of it
it's
as a modern. Think of it as the modern Montero Sport that we got that we never got. So the Montero Sport was made up until like 2000, and I'm probably going to get this wrong. I think 2005 in the US. I can't remember. Something like that.
That sounds
and then
right.
they axed it, and so they kept on just like the Mitsubishi Mighty Max, which was sold as the Triton and Strata and whatnot, kept on going in other parts of the world. It got killed off in the United States. Australia still gets the Triton. So
yeah,
L200.
Mine's got a 2.5 liter diesel turbocharged intercooled.
Nice.
What year is it?
2015.
Oh, okay.
So then they replaced that with the Pajero Sport here.
Always with the sport in Mitsubishi, the something sport. Yeah. So do you have a favorite tire?
Probably Falcon Wild Peak 83s.
Yeah.
All right.
Which I'm not running at the moment. I'm running mud terrains at the moment, but
running what's?
I'm running Hankook mud terrains at the moment.
Mud terrains. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right. The next question is, what do you drive? Is that the Mitsubishi is your main off-road kind of vehicle?
Yeah.
Yep. Once the solar flares are done, why don't you tell us what you've done to modify it?
Oh, must be those storms.
Yeah. Shoot.
There you go.
He's out. Usually he comes back pretty quick though, so
I'd like to think that he just gets offended, but then comes back because he really likes us.
That could be. There he goes.
Maybe
coming back on.
There we
go. Wonderful.
I love Australia.
Yeah. So what have you done to modify your Mitsubishi?
Currently got an upgraded intercooler. It's running a chip which increases the boost and the fuel pressure. So it's probably kicking about 40% more torque than standard. Lifted 2-inch lift, 32-inch tires over the 29 that it came with. Draw set in the back, radio, UHF.
Cool.
Roof racks. Yeah. Solar power.
Nice.
What would you love to do to it that you can't do to it because of Australia's laws?
I've probably done about as much as I would like to do to it, but I'd probably like to maybe do a bit of a chassis chop and a few other things that I would have to which would have to get engineered on top of, which was kind of cost me silly money. Or maybe even a solid axle swap at the front.
Oh yeah. So if you were gonna just like do like the chop the pinch seam for a little bit more tire clearance, would that have to get engineered?
Yep.
Wow.
Theoretically,
I knew that you guys had to have the engineering stuff behind it, but I didn't realize something like that. Here in the States, we take a big hammer to it, and that's done.
Yeah. Like if you took a big hammer to it, you'd probably get away with it because you could cover it up with plastic or stone guard or something like that.
Red Rock did it.
Yeah. Purely accidental. My high lift jack did it as I was pushing against something. But yeah, and they do clamp down on it every now and again on roadsides. And the big thing at the moment is vehicles being overloaded, though. So
yeah,
And then they're actually making people empty vehicles at the side of the road.
Ooh, that's some teeth behind the law right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you get like a $1,200 fine. You're made to empty the vehicle at the side of the road, and then you have to organise to get the stuff you've taken out of the vehicle picked up. Otherwise, you get down for littering.
Wow. Oh my.
Ooh,
Wow.
ooh,
Wow.
ooh.
I would dump all the water out of my stuff and then probably siphon the gas out and put it in someone else's car and see how low that gets me. How much weight I would reduce that way rather than taking my gear out.
Yeah.
They are
I think the
nuts.
problem is they've had vehicles that on a lot of the outback highways, you've had vehicles that are running 200-300 kilos over GVM.
Yeah.
Sorry, 400 pounds over GVM.
Can you imagine here if somebody got caught over 400 pounds? That's like nothing over here.
It
Like,
is,
we see
to me,
Land
it seems
Rovers.
like nothing, right?
We see like 80 series Land Cruisers being like 2,000 pounds over GV. Well, you know, who cares, right?
A Land Cruiser.
I have
It's
Yeah.
built for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess the problem is here, if you're on like an outback road, you could be 600 miles from the nearest town.
Yeah.
Oh, and so this isn't even in town. This is
This is like people
the
they grab you when you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh,
wow.
that's rough.
Can you just like bring a sled with you? So you just put everything in a sled and drag it behind you?
Drag
Yeah,
it.
then they get you on gross combined mass.
or your sled isn't registered and doesn't have plates and registration.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it as well.
And it wasn't engineered to be pulled behind a Jeep.
Yeah.
Nothing's engineered to be pulled behind a Jeep, to be fair.
Oh, shots
Sorry.
fired. Shots fired. I can say that because I have a Mitsubishi and I used to have a Jeep. So
Well, last question here about you before we get to the main topic. Is there any places that you haven't been that you would like to go?
I was planning a trip across the Simpson Desert last year, but then COVID hit, which is probably my next big trip. It's a 4-day desert crossing.
iconic.
Iconic.
Yes.
1,200 sand dunes to cross.
And there's like lots of COVID out there. You couldn't enter as a COVID
They
zone.
closed the border. They closed all the borders to the states.
Oh man, you can't leave your own province.
At one point, I couldn't even leave my own suburb.
Wow.
Wow.
That is
Even
close
if you
down.
put a mask on your vehicle.
Dude, that's not how it works.
2 masks.
Okay,
Two-
maybe 2 masks.
2 masks. How about 2 masks?
One on the tailpipe, one on the intake.
There you go. Yeah, one on the intake and one on
And
the
one on the
tailpipe.
exhaust.
There we go.
Yeah. So let's
But on the
talk
flip
about the main topic here. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, on the flip side, we haven't had any cases in New South Wales now for 45 days. So
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So let's hit the main topic here. So we're supposed to be talking about vehicles that we have in the United States that you don't get where you live or in other countries you previously lived in the United Kingdoms.
Yep.
Let's talk about what you don't get out there that you might have envy of our rigs here.
I think for me, probably one of the biggest ones that you get there that we don't have here, and would be your 4th gen Forerunners, that type of thing, or with all the TRD extras on there. We get the Fortuner here, which isn't really the same.
So you just said 4th gen Forerunner. You know, there's 5 gens of them, or do you get the 5th gen?
5th gen, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
so-
check. I was just checking.
I didn't
'Cause
know there was a 5th gen, so yeah.
The image I pulled was of a 5th gen, and I didn't want anybody to call us out for having the wrong generation. So
We don't get the Forerunner period, so
gotcha. Okay. Well, the Forerunner is hot here in the overlanding off-road world.
yeah.
Tons of them. They're everywhere.
And
Back
you've
my-
got you've got a lot of aftermarket support for the Forerunner as well, haven't you? So
Tons.
Yes,
Yeah.
tons.
Now, Andy, you can get you can't get the Toyota the Surf, the Hilux Surf, or anything like that, or is it all
we
Japanese
used to
market?
we used to get the Surf here. There's still a few on the road here. That's now been replaced by the Fortuna,
Okay.
which is, I guess, really the rest of the world version to the 4Runner. But it's got a 2.8 diesel from the Hilux. It's basically a Hilux with a wagon or SUV body on it.
Got it.
Gotcha. So where the 4Runner is similar to the Tacoma chassis, the Fortuna is the Hilux chassis.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, just out of curiosity, how the Fortuna is it good with crackers?
What?
What?
Fortuna,
I think
Fortuna
it's
and crackers.
Fortuna, actually, and I believe Andy's
oh,
accent
okay.
is making it sound like Fortuna. But I'm going
Okay.
to take this one step
Fortuna.
further, and I believe there was a Star Wars character named Bib Fortuna, and
There
every
was.
time I think of that, it makes me think of the Toyota Fortuna. Anyway,
Yeah.
I
Gotcha.
expect never to be
Is-
asked back here again. Anyway,
Is that
It's not.
is
It's not.
is it really capable? Is it a good
It's
rig?
capable. It's not a massive seller. It's capable because we have the Prado here, which is the 150 series Land Cruiser, which is probably the more popular of the SUV type vehicles. Although it's about $20,000 more. It's probably not. I'd say probably the Ford Everest is probably the more popular out of that type of vehicle here.
Interesting.
and what does a Ford Everest go for generally? Australian.
They start off at about 60,000 Australian.
So 60,000 Australian. So that's for those at home, that's 46,000 US.
That's reasonable.
That's a start. That's a starting.
Not for
price,
me, it's
'cause-
not.
Yeah, that's
a
the
starting
base model
price.
one.
Thinking fully
Yeah.
loaded.
Yeah, because a fully loaded 4Runner with the TRD stuff, I thought is in the high 40s.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is
To
why
high
it
40s.
was a
So a top of the range Fortuna would go for 63,000 here.
All right, so
40.
63,000 Australian to US is let's see, where's my Google? Here we go, 48,000 United States dollars.
But that
I
doesn't
look
have
at-
anything. That doesn't have anything on it. That's just basically a car with a rear diff lock, and that's it.
Right, so I look at a $50,000 car as $10,000 cars for me, but that's just me. So.
Or 10 $5,000 cars.
Ooh, I kind of like the way you do math, Mr. Samuelson.
Yes. So we kind of hinted at this earlier when we mentioned the Bronco. Are you guys excited to get the Bronco down there in Australia?
I'd like to get the Bronco in Australia
wow.
Yeah.
if the
that was
wheel
a
was on
cut.
the right side.
Is it coming?
Nah.
Rudest way you could have said that.
Yeah, that's great.
No,
So
we're not getting the Bronco.
The Bronco is
Oh.
not going to Australia. That hurts a little bit because that has been hyped so hard. In fact, it's at least every other week,
I know.
if not more, in our news segment for our podcast is Bronco news. So
It's going
That's
to be
a
a hot
bummer.
one.
it is going to be a hot one. So you mentioned
And-
the Everest a minute ago.
And I think
you
it
tell
would
us
really
what-
sell if it had either of the.
Oh,
Nope.
w-
Solar
man,
flare.
this Australia connection.
it's not going well.
So while he's gone, let's talk about the Everest real quick. He mentioned the Everest earlier. It's a wagon style body or SUV body, and
Sorry.
the Everest. It's all right. The Everest is on the Ranger platform, so it's going to be just a little
correct.
bit smaller than what the Bronco would be. Is the Everest a pretty capable rig?
Yeah. The Everest has the same basic suspension as the Ranger Raptor, but without the Fox shocks, without the Fox suspension. So it's got the Watts linkage on the back, coils at the front. Comes with all of the traction aids, comes with all the tech as well. So yeah, they're pretty capable.
Very nice.
So that's a solid rear axle vehicle.
Solid rear axle with coil sprung on the back.
Another one I'm curious if you get is the Jeep Wrangler. Do you get the Jeep Wrangler down there?
We get the Jeep Wrangler. Yep. And
Okay.
the Gladiator. We've just started getting the Gladiator here as well.
Wow, at
Okay.
least Australia isn't completely out of their mind then.
They're expensive here. They start off at about $70,000 here, the Gladiator.
Ooh,
Wow.
wow, $70,000.
It's about $70,000.
That's above 50,000 to start.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's 53,000, almost 54,000 US.
yeah.
Which puts them straight in competition with like the Hilux, the top of the range Hiluxes, and the top of the Ranger Raptor as well.
That's for a base model.
Yeah, for a base model.
Starts at like 33 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I guess once they've re-engineered it to have the steering wheel on the right and everything else is costs there.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned the Raptor. Are you able to get the Raptor down in Australia?
The F-150 Raptor,
Yes.
we can get it as a grey import. They're about 145,000 plus on the road.
So it's not. So the F-150 and the F-150 Raptor, those trucks are not sold at Ford dealers down there. It's something
Not
you have
at
to
Ford
import.
dealers. No, you have to get them through official importers, and then they're converted to right-hand drive here. There's a few about. We do get them, but there's not many. Rams you can get through dealers. So we do. There are a few of those officially here.
Do you know if the Ram TRX is going to make it to your shores?
I doubt it.
Doubt it.
I doubt
that one
it.
That one really seems like it would do amazing in Australia with a longer travel suspension and lots of horsepower and
the
gas
problem here
guzzling.
is General Motors have mostly pulled out of Australia.
No, this would be the Ram still.
Yeah.
Ram TRX, which is Dodge.
Yeah, I think they're imported though via HSV, which is General Motors here.
Oh, really? That's okay.
Yeah, that's weird.
Not something I expected to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. So then do you get full-size Chevy trucks then either?
Not really. We don't really get any because General Motors officially have pulled out. So there's sort of the only Holden / Chevy vehicles that are here. So we used to get the Z71s and that size vehicle. But the only ones that now are for sale are what's left in stock from the dealers before they close up.
So you mentioned prior to us jumping on the show that it's tough to get these big vehicles in some of the towns because they're too big.
Yeah. So if you think of it, a lot of Australian towns are a little bit like European towns, so the roads can often be quite small. Or certainly on a lot of the trails, if you're not doing desert trails, a lot of the trails are quite narrow and twisting. So you struggle to get some of the bigger trucks that you guys have, I would say, through some of the trails. And then again, where they would really excel is in the desert vehicle, you're struggling with range potentially because of the distances between fuel stops. Most of outback trails are 400-500 miles apart.
You definitely need a oversized fuel tank for that type of range. Yeah. When I think of Australia, I think of vast open areas. So when you mentioned that they don't fit, I was just kind of surprised.
Yeah. So down the East Coast is basically all mountains. And then you've got, as soon as you hit the mountains, go past the mountains, that's when it gets all open. So you've got to cross mountains to get in.
Gotcha. Well, is there any other vehicles that pop in your head that you wish you could get that you cannot?
I like the Honda Ridgeline.
I'm sorry, we're having a bad connection. We're getting a really bad connection. It must be a storm down in Australia. Can't get a good reception. Sorry, go ahead.
I think purely from novelty value, I think it'd be fun. I think purely as a novelty vehicle, it'd be fun.
I'm looking
forward to the Rivians when they come out over here.
Sorry.
I'm getting seasick, Andy.
And
Right.
Tesla have
Okay.
announced the Cybertruck's coming.
How is your EV infrastructure in
So
Australia?
that could be interesting.
Okay, next question. Well,
Oh, sorry,
oh,
did you
made
say
my
infrastructure?
camera fall off its mount. Anyway, I'm having some technical difficulties here.
Yeah.
All right.
This show is full of them. So I got one last question. I got one last question here before we shut
Yeah.
down. You mentioned that you could import these under the gray market import laws.
Yep.
So in the United States, it's 25 years, but you're talking about importing like brand new rigs. What are your laws down there?
Yeah, so if the vehicle's not available here, you can basically import a new vehicle as a personal import.
Oh wow.
If the vehicle is available here, it has to be over, I think it's 10 years old or something like that. So, or if you've owned it overseas for more than 12 months, you can bring it over straight away.
So that's kind of like, that's interesting because it's almost backwards from the United States. Whereas if it's never been imported here, we have to wait. But you're saying if it has been imported, you have to wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's a model that's available over here, you have to wait.
Yeah, when I was in Australia in 2016, I saw vehicles that I didn't expect to see, and I thought, well, the import laws must be pretty lax compared to the United States. So that makes some sense to me.
So they care all about this safety stuff, and you can't be 100 kilograms overweight, and your tires can't be more than 1.5 inches taller than factory, but you can import anything you want
within reason.
I think I could live with that, to be honest, because I just want a Jimny.
I'm
really
okay
bad.
with that.
Yeah.
But it has to be converted to right-hand drive.
Yep.
Oh, so you can't drive around in a left-hand drive vehicle?
If it's registered before 1960 something, you can.
Interesting.
There's not a lot of good vehicles back then that you would import into Australia.
So, ironically, like
Off-roading.
even like 60s Mustangs have to be converted to right-hand drive.
I will say that when I was in Newcastle in 2016, I happened to run into my wife and our friend. We went into this like kind of boutique-y store, right? And I'm just kind of stand around, kind of like most guys do, right? And we just got talking, and I said something about being from Oregon in the United States, and this gentleman turns to me and says, "Oh, you're from Oregon?" I said, "Yeah," and he was Australian, and I said, "Yeah," and he says, "Oh, our daughter went to school in the United States." Blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, long story short, he imports 1 or 2 Dodge Rams or Ram trucks every year and converts them to right-hand drive and all that. And I got the whole lowdown on exactly how that goes. And it's not cheap to convert something to right-hand drive. I was surprised how expensive it really is.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I mean, I assume you have to probably, would you on certain vehicles maybe do engine swapping?
You might have to change the engine mounts to
Yeah.
a right-hand drive engine mount to slightly reposition things a bit.
To clear steering arms or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And obviously then you're looking at all the dashboard and all the trim inside has to be swapped around and changed.
Uh-huh.
How about airbags? You have to consider that, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, so then if it's got airbags, it would then have to go through crash testing and crash safety. So you'd have to import one, convert it, then get it through engineering and get it crash tested.
Oh
man.
Ooh.
Yikes.
You gotta love that vehicle to have to bring 2 of them in.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
You need somebody to do it first.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think once they're already done, that's fine. There's obviously an engineering
precedent
for it. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that first one you have to get. It can be tricky.
Got it.
I actually saw a what's the Toyota? What's the big Toyota pickup that you guys have?
The Tundra.
Tundra. I saw a Tundra the other day driving recently, and it's the only one I've ever seen in Sydney.
Huh. See, that's what I love about the 4-wheel drive community. Like, no matter where you go, like people are the same. I was watching some videos on. It was actually a 4-wheel drive club out of Pakistan, and you could put them anywhere. It doesn't matter. They're all passionate about whatever there were Land Cruisers and Jeeps and Monteros and patrols and all kinds of stuff. And you could put these people anywhere. You could tell they were passionate about it, and they would probably get as excited about seeing something that they don't see usually as I would. You know, like you see a Tundra, and we're just like, I see Tundras every day. It's like not a big deal. But like when when I was in Newcastle, I saw this Land Cruiser. I'm sorry, this Land Rover Defender. I think it was like a 120 or 130. I don't know. It was a pickup, and it was huge, and it was in mint condition. This is probably like $150,000 truck if you could get it into the United States. And I'm sure people were like, "What's the big deal?" Like, you know, but it's. Actually, that's the way it was when I saw a Delica. When I got to drive a Delica for the first time, like I walked up to this clapped out 90, I think it's a 92 Delica, and I was like a kid who saw a Lamborghini for the first time. I was like, "Oh my god, I get to drive this! This is amazing!" You know, and my wife's cousin is looking at me, being like, "Oh, I'm just faded out." That fade out? Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
They can hear me. Okay. Well, anyway, so I was freaking out, and they were looking at me like, "What's his problem?" So
it's crazy. Like my second ever car was a 1964 Series 2A Land Rover.
Oh wow,
short
cool.
wheelbase. It was with 6-volt electrics and switches on the floor for things.
Oh yeah. But you know, it doesn't matter where you go in the world. Like car people and truck people are into it no matter what. Like when we were in Iceland and we ran across like the 2 people in Iceland who didn't speak English hardly, and he had like an 81 Jeep CJ on 42-inch balloon tires, and so once we and I'm gonna sound like I work for Warren Industries here for a minute, but I was trying to ask him about winches, and I didn't see a winch on his vehicle. And I said, "Why don't you have a winch?" And he sort of looked at me. He's like, "I don't know winch." And I showed him the logo, and he's like, "Oh, Warren." He says, "Everybody knows Warren." I'm like, "Okay." And then he took out his smartphone, and we're looking through the photos. And he's showing me the build and showing me all this stuff. Like it doesn't matter where you go, if you're into cars and trucks. You're going to have a circle of friends that are into cars and trucks in any country if you can make the connection.
Oh, exactly. Definitely.
Even if you drive a Tundra. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. You mean a Ridgeline?
A Ridgeline.
I'll go Ridgeline.
All right. Everybody hates on the Ridgeline. I saw you sticking up for it today on Facebook. So
I'll defend. I will say the Ridgeline is as much truck as most truck buyers actually need. Not you and me who go, wheeling and stuff, but like the people who are driving their family to, they're going to Target and they're going to church and they're going to the shopping mall. I mean, like literally going to the shopping mall. Yep. They don't need an F-350. They need a Ridgeline.
They do. And even for going to Home Depot, it's a great vehicle for that.
Yeah.
I'm with you 100%.
The Amarok I'm about to buy doesn't even have low range.
There you go.
Ooh.
It has a crawler first gear and 550 Newton meters of torque. Do I need low range?
500 Newton meters? How many?
550 Newton meters.
550 Nm to pounds feet. Let's see what that is, because I'm on the Google right now. Please give it to me easily here. Of course, it's not going to. That's a lot. Let's just put it that way. That's 405. That's 405 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah, that's a lot of torque.
From 1,200 RPM.
Yeah.
From a really low.
Awesome.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's 180 Newton kilowatts, whatever that works in adding horsepower. So it's like 250 horsepower.
Yeah, that's 241 horsepower. So 241 horsepower and 400 plus foot-pounds of torque. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds.
That's faster than all 5 of my vehicles, probably combined, actually. So
are Australian seconds the same seconds as US seconds? Okay.
They just go backwards.
Well,
and that's factory. That's factory. So you can actually tune them up to like nearly 700 Newton meters quite easily.
Is it a dual clutch transmission or is it a traditional auto?
Traditional 8-speed auto. Yeah, ZF 8-speed auto.
Okay, so it's got the torque converter in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Very
we really
cool.
want to thank you for coming. We want to
Okay.
thank you for coming on, Andy, and
Thank you.
talking from a different continent to us, even through all of our internet struggles and everything. We really appreciate that you made time out of your day
That's right.
to
Thank you for
come
having
talk
me.
to us.
Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
We haven't got this joke in yet, so it's Monday as we're recording. What day is it in Australia?
Tuesday afternoon.
It's Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. Okay. Just checking. I thought that you were in the land of tomorrow, but I wasn't entirely sure. I figured I'd ask before we closed out.
And what time is it then? Right now, where you are?
3:10.
Okay, so in a couple hours, you could probably have a cocktail. So.
Yeah, I leave
could
work
probably
about
have
6
another
o'clock, so
cocktail.
yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, I do.
Yeah. Have a bit. I'll
Yeah.
grab a beer out the fridge before I leave.
There you go.
Out of the fridge? You guys have fridge beers?
Yeah.
Work beers?
Hang on. Can you see it? Probably can't see it.
There
can't
it
see
is.
it.
Yep.
There it is.
We'll take
I
your
saw it
word
in the
on
corner.
it.
Yeah.
In the corner of the office.
Well, we want to also thank everybody else who's been following along for this whole show and watching us live and commenting. We appreciate you guys out there. Appreciate that you check in weekly with us. It's a big deal to us. We enjoy the comments. Make sure you're sharing us with your friends and write into us. Tell us what vehicle you wish you could have, whether you're in the United States or abroad. Write into us and tell us what you wish you could have that you cannot have. And God bless America and Australia.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening